Hey y'all, hope y'all doing well. So we are starting a little project that goes over transformations. Okay, so let's read. Zach and Marta have a computer game that involves the Wump family. The Wumps are various sizes, but they all have the same shape. Mug is the game's main character and can be transformed into Wump family members using mathematical rules. Okay, and what they mean by mathematical rules is algebraic representation. Okay? So remember, we've been working with algebraic representation a lot. It tells you what to do with your original points in the coordinate grid or the coordinate plane, and it's going to tell you how to transform them. Okay? So, making similar figures. I'm not gonna make y'all draw out the new images on the graph. Okay, that will be a extra credit opportunity for y'all. If y'all do it, you'll get 5 or 10 points depending. I haven't decided that yet, but it's gonna be 5 to 10 points. Okay, so graphing the points will give you extra credit, but it's not necessary. Okay, what I really want you to focus on is filling out these columns. All right, so what it's telling you to do right here is you're going to start with mug, all right, mug 1. You're going to take his points, right, and then you're going to put them through the algebraic representation. Look right here. Zug is 2x and 2y. So what that's telling me is that I'm going to go back to mug and his points, right, and multiply them by our scale factor, which is 2. All right? So that's how we got from 0, 1 to 0, 2. 2 times 0 is 0. Okay, 2 times 1 is 2. All right, same thing right here. 2 times 2 is going to be 4. 2 times 1 will be 2. All right, so for instance, on C, we're going to do, we're going to take our x value, okay, x value, right, which is 2, and then it's telling me right here to multiply my x value and my y value by our scale factor, and in Zug's case, that's 2. All right, so 2 times 2 would be 4. 0 times 2 would be 0. Okay, and you're going to do that for lug and bug. All right, this whole part 1, part 2, part 3, where it's telling you to pick up the pencil, that's just for the actual graphing part. Again, it's not necessary that you do the graphing. I just really want y'all to focus on getting the correct coordinates, right? So like for lug, okay? Lug, his scale factor is right here, okay? Remember, in an algebraic representation for dilations, your scale factor will always be attached to your x and y, right? So I have 1/2 x and 1/2 y. Or if you want, you can put it in decimal form, which is 0.5, okay? So let's look at C again. Well, let's do A for lug. We're going to do 1 half, so 0.5 times 0. Anything times 0, guys, is going to stay 0. Okay, so that's 0. And then 1 times our scale factor, which is 0.5, is going to be 0.5. Okay. All right, same thing for bug. The thing about bug is that his scale factor is 3. So we're going to take our points and multiply all the numbers by our scale factor, which is 3. So 3 times 0, again, any number times 0 is 0. And 3 times 1 is going to be 1. Okay? So this is what you're doing for all of these columns, right? Okay. Now when it gets to here, it says, describe each Wump family member as either similar or not similar to Mug. If they are similar, identify the scale factor between Mug and them. Okay, so if they're similar, tell me that, yes, Zug is similar or Zug is not similar. Okay, and then tell me what the scale factor was between Mug and Zug, right? Okay, and then if we scroll down, okay, this part again, you don't have to do the graphing, but if you do, it's going to be extra credit, okay? So let's keep on scrolling. So that was day 1. And day 2, right? And remember, day 1 and day 2, you're going to turn these in together, okay? If you are on Canvas, you're going to take pictures of your work, okay? And then upload it together into the file upload, okay? And that file upload that page or that assignment will be on Friday's module, and it'll be open until Monday. Okay, so it'll be open on Friday, January 22nd, I believe. Yes, January 22nd, and it'll be closed on Monday, January 25th at midnight. Okay, so for day 2, you're just doing the exact same thing, but instead of Zug, Lug, or whatever their names were, you're doing hat 1, hat 2, and hat 3. Okay, so day 1 they were doing dilations, so right here is going to be translations. All right, and translations are easy. Whatever the x value is, you add 2. Whatever the y value is, you add 3. Okay, and over here it's different. All right, but let's do the first one. So A starts out as 1, 1. So it's telling me that my x value, I'm going to add 2. So 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. And then it's telling me that the y value, I'm going to add 3. 1 plus 3 is 4. Okay, so that's my new point, 3, 4. Well, what about over here? It's telling me, this time it's telling me to subtract 1 from the x value. We start at 1, and then we subtract 1, so that's 0. We start at 1 for y, and we add 4, so that's going to give me 5. And then this last one, x plus 2, so whatever my x value is right here, which is 1, and I'm going to add 2. So 1 plus 2 is 3. Tell me over here, 1 minus 3, right? 1 minus 2 will end up as a negative 2. Okay? So that's all you're doing for this, okay? How did each rule change Mug's hat? Well, how did hat 1 change from hat 2? Well, what do? You're going to tell me it moved this many units to the right, or this many units to the left, or it moved, up however many or down however many, okay? So you're going to tell me that in complete sentences, right, using the mathematical terms. Okay, and then this one. So day 1 was dilation. The hats, right, up here, are all about translation, okay? It has the x plus 2 or x minus whatever, okay? For the faces, it's going to be changing the orientation, okay? Now this looks a lot like what we were doing with rotations, right? It's going to be either a rotation or a reflection, okay? And it looks right here, it's going to be a little mixture of both, right? Okay, so again, let's do the first one. This one, it starts out as 2, 2. That's our x, and that's our y. And it's telling me right here for face 1, I have to take whatever the points are, flip it, right? Because the y becomes the x, right? Because the y comes first in here. And then your x, remember, whenever you see a negative sign in the algebraic representation, that doesn't mean put a negative in front of the x value. That means to flip its signs, okay? So if it's a positive, it'll turn into a negative. If it's a negative, it's going to flip into a positive, okay? So let's do the first one. We start out with x and y as 2 and 2, okay? So when we flip it, since they're the same number, you know what? Let's do this for b. Okay, so b starts out as x is 6 and y is 2. So it's telling me that the y value comes first. Our y value right here is 2, right? Okay, and then that negative x, remember that negative in the algebraic representation tells me to flip the sign. I start out as a 6, so after I do the transformation, it turns into a negative 6. Okay, then what about over here? Well, over here, all it tells me to do is I keep it as x and y, but your x will change signs, right? So x is 6. Since it starts out as a positive 6 on Mug's face, right? It's a positive 6 and a positive 2. This is telling me to flip its signs. If it's a positive, it will flip into a negative. So this is a negative 6. And then the 2 will stay the same. Okay? And then over here, and again, you don't have to worry about this one. That's why it's crossed out. If anything's crossed out, guys, you don't have to do it. Okay? So negative 6 and 2 was for phase 2, and then phase 3, it tells us that the y and it starts out as x and y, right, for Mug's face. But then phase 3, you're going to flip the x and the y, and you're also going to flip the signs, right? You're going to flip both things. So we start out at 6 and 2. When we flip it, that y value will come first, which is 2. And remember, since there's a negative, we're going to flip the signs. It starts out as a positive 2, and it's going to turn into a negative 2. Here, it starts out as a positive 6, and when you flip it, when you see this negative sign, you're going to flip the signs. So if it's positive, it turns into a negative 6. Okay? So that's what you're going to be doing for this one. All right? And then again, you're going to tell me, how did they change, right? How did it change after you applied these different transformations? Okay? The end conclusion, I don't want y'all to do that, so go ahead and cross that out. Okay, y'all don't have to do the end conclusion one. All right? And then again, drawing the figures on the graph will get you extra credit, but you are not required to do it. Okay? So that's all. Message me if you have any questions on the project. If you're on Canvas, you have until Monday at midnight to finish this. Okay, so that'll be January 25th at midnight. Okay.